tax, my president. I even bring in and kind of tax on removal of tax export. Hello there, lovely. Good morning and welcome to the Rise and Thrive Breakfast Show right here on Camnet TV. Thank you so much for joining us. It is a Monday morning. Rise up and thrive. Remember, you were created for greatness. My name is Joe Smarter and I'm joined by Movement for Change and Equality President Musenda Simuyemba, joining me this morning. Mr. President, good to see you and welcome.
Thank you very much, Martha. It's always a joy to be before you and before Camnet TV. And
Fantastic.
Good morning to the Zambian people.
Awesome. How is the party mobilizing? You have been making headlines.
We are doing what we can do in the context of what we've planned to do. So we're doing well.
Okay, awesome. Now, I'll ask my director. My crew intercepted this particular press release, and I'll be asking my director to put it on the screen as I ask you this question, Mr. Simuyemba. Now, President Simuyemba, this particular press release is not coming from your party. It's coming from an opposition party that is in an alliance with the ruling party. Now, that's the press release there, National Democratic Congress. But the reason why I've decided to ask my director to put this particular press release on the screen is that the contents of this particular statement mentions you a number of times, Mr. Simuyemba. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs, and in each paragraph you are mentioned, Mr. Simuyemba, and your party, M4CE. Are you aware of that statement displayed on your TV screen?
I am very much aware, and we are very much aware about what our colleagues have written.
Can we get a response?
To us, this is a jokes matter.
Okay.
I think Zambians deserves more and better engagements and discussions than for me to be discussing what is happening with my wife at home, why my children are not going to school, why my other daughter is pregnant. That's exactly what Kasonde and the NDC are doing.
Okay.
The issues that have been brought are of national interest. But fashion as it be, politics in Zambia have been reduced to hero worshipping and the vuvuzela kind of politics where it has to be the master knows it all. If Akainde and the UPND are not governing to the expectations of the people, is it Kasonde's job to be censuring me when I'm trying to provide why we created this political party? To offer alternatives, to offer constructive engagements and criticisms. But Kasonde is contradicting himself by in one face as Alliance Secretary, he claims I have committed the Alliance to a particular position. If you read that statement and you ask Kasonde, I would love you to bring him here. You ask him just a simple question to say, Mr. Kasonde, can you show us a statement by Mr. Simuyemba or just a line where he committed, he says, I am speaking on behalf of the Alliance and this is the position of the Alliance. Let him just come and say that.
According to that statement,
yes.
President member, forgive me for interrupting you, but
yes,
according
please.
to that statement, it's indicating that there have been social media posts that you have made condemning the alliance, condemning the ruling government, and hence this hasn't sat well with the mobilization chairperson, is it? Mr. Kasonde from the NDC party.
That is opinion. If it hasn't sat very well, we will continue with what we are doing. And I think, in our view, we are doing what is required of us as a political party. You know, alliances by nature. I did come here and explain. There is no law which allows for alliances. These are makeshift arrangements. We can't go and register any alliance before any law. So these makeshift arrangements, it's just a handshake arrangement. But as a political of the country.
Exactly.
If walking out of parliament to Kasonde is a good thing and we should use diplomacy, when they walked out of parliament, those UPND fellas, was that a diplomacy? If that is what is diplomacy in the heads of Kasonde, then we can't comment. But not to waste time on that. To us, that is a joking thing. And I think my colleagues will react to it, and they will react to Kasonde. Okay. But I think a nation deserves better. We don't have, if Kasonde doesn't have alternatives and NDC to talk about the governance of this country, what they have is just to be clapping even about the wrongs that are afflicting the people of Zambia. Then I think we have no business to talk about them and NDC. Vis-a-vis the alliance, we didn't create the alliance for wrong things. God save this point, and God save us. We did not create the UPND alliance to come and do wrong things in government. That's very, very clear. Unless somebody is insane or is suffering from a meningitis or whatever, then he can come and say that is wrong. We did not create this alliance to come and create infliction on the people of Zambia, cause massive suffering, do the wrong things like corruption. It's not me. Why don't Kasonde talk to Kangwa for him to be censuring those PSs? Why can't Kasonde talk to Akainde? Why is fired all those PSs and the ministers? There's wrongdoing in the government, and that's what we're talking about.
Okay, awesome. Now, my next question to you on this matter, as we wind up on it and go to the newspaper, what the newspapers are saying this morning. My next question is, President Simuyemba, is the UPND alliance still in existence? I'm asking you this question because one of the key alliance partners and members was his contract was terminated. We can say he was fired. That is former permanent secretary, Mr. Joseph Ricky Akafumba. As we speak right now, his contract was terminated, and he's one of the key alliance partners. Is the alliance, UPND alliance, still in existence?
I have to put it on record that I think the alliance was not created for us as individuals to go and seek jobs in government. The only jobs that I know of that the alliance can take in government are elective jobs. Elective jobs in the sense you elect a president, that job I know. We have a running mate who is Mutaina Lumango, that job I know. We have ministers. The president can choose ministers from within parliament and also nominate some other people. Those we have two, Mutati and Mirupi, who are nominated members of parliament.
From the alliance?
From the alliance. That I know. Then the president can give jobs to permanent secretaries and this is and all these diplomatic whatever. Those are jobs that the president is giving as he deems fit. Mind you, It's not by the dictates of the alliance. As he deems fit, this is a Zambian who can perform in this particular job. So the issue I'm trying to clarify is that we shouldn't link the existential of the alliance to jobs in government. So the alliance fundamentals did not talk about jobs in government. It talks about solving problems of the Zambian people, coming to fix runaway inflation, coming to diversify, uniting this country, and so forth and so forth. These are the fundamentals. Ending corruption. These are the fundamentals. Stopping the thieving in government. Those are the fundamentals. That's why we formed this alliance. Not walking out of parliament, not getting jobs. Those are just a privilege by association. You are associated in this format, and then smarter, he has a job, I think you are qualified, do this, or I think you are the best person who can do. That is a privilege of the president to give all these things. So the issue of my very good friend Rick Akafumba being dropped, I saw something on the whatever that you await redeployment. So I think he hasn't been summarily been dismissed. He's just been dropped from that portfolio, and the president is considering giving him another portfolio if he's going to accept it. That is so.
Okay.
But that has got nothing to do with the alliance existation.
Okay, I'll still ask my director to put up that particular statement from a state house, and apparently this one came through the principal secretary's office. That statement that contains names of ministers and PSs that have been
for the first time
terminated.
For the first time, Bradford was signing a statement.
Yes. So again, that raised and brought so much concern to stakeholders. I was seeing the comments on our social media page.
What is their concern?
Some comments are saying these terminations and appointments and reshuffles are insignificant. The people that were supposed to be taken to task are those that walked out of parliament. The people that do not know what to do with the water that is flooding homes in most parts of Lusaka and Zambia. The people that have continued to load shed the Zambian people. The people that have continued to issue statements that do not address the challenges that the Zambian people are facing. Those were the people that were supposed to be dropped or reshuffled. And we have seen provincial ministers being dropped. We have seen permanent secretaries whose contracts are being terminated. We have seen PSAs being removed from defense to DMMU. People are saying these appointments, redeployments, or reshuffles are not significant. It's there on different platforms.
I tend to hear you, but there's something very, very important.
Okay.
You see, the Zambian people, the electorate, they elect a president by direct franchise.
Okay.
They elect a president and give him the mandate or her the mandate to govern this country.
Exactly.
All these things we are seeing are just a consequence of that mandate. So if these are inconsequential or they are insignificant and they expect something more, then there are channels to communicate to the president that you are not doing the right thing. And maybe platforms like this, Mr. President, maybe you can hear what Josh Mata is talking about, which is coming from other media platforms.
Yes.
That these terminations are inconsequential or insignificant. Maybe, Mr. President, you can relook at the whole governance structure and see further beyond, and coupled with what Secretary of Cabinet Kangwa was saying, that if the PSs wanted to end corruption, they can end it now and within a day.
That clip has gone viral. It's all
Yes, he said that. It was also viral. It was live. It wasn't secret. Yes. So he said that. So the question is, why has it taken 4 years, first and foremost, for Secretary to the Cabinet to issue such a statement now? Or is it an afterthought? Or was it an instruction? So these are things that beg clear answers. But the whole thing is that the appointing authority of all these players in government is the president. That's the person who must take heed of what the Zambian people are saying. And coupled to this, I'm not just saying this because of asked this question. Look at what Mpezeni advised the president. His Royal Highness, His Majesty Paramount Chief Mpezeni, did advise the president to be listening to the people. Could it be that I re-echo the same sentiments here on this platform? That Mr. President, try to listen to what people are saying in view of many challenges and in view of the performances of your appointees and indeed collectively as a government. Listen to the people. There is something disconnected here where governed who are the mandators are trying to say something to say like, look, this is inconsequential, this is not adding up. Why do you leave out that guy when he did this and that, according to them?
And it's there.
And it's there. So really, the buck starts and stops at the president. This is the appointing authority. All those people you are seeing, corrupt and uncorrupt, wrong and right, educated and uneducated, inconsequential, insignificant or otherwise, they all serve at the pleasure of the president. That is the law.
And again, another concern that one of the comments was saying that these appointments, reshuffles and terminations are being done out of association and proximity to the executive, and they're not being done on merit, because if terminations were being done on merit, we would have seen a lot of ministers leaving cabinet and a lot of people being brought on board to come and push the economic wheels of this particular country, which World Bank, as of weekend, the headlines that we had and the latest from the World Bank is that Zambia is the 6th poorest country in the world. When it comes to producing minerals, it produces emeralds, and it's the 2nd largest producer of emeralds in the world. However, it's the 6th poorest country in the world. Mr. Simiemba, as an opposition in waiting, as a party that is in an alliance with the UPND government, how does that sit with you?
It doesn't sit very well, and it is the more reason, and I'll say this with a heavy heart, it's a more reason why I and the Movement for Change for Equality have not taken positions in government. You know, that's a very loaded statement and a very loaded consent. I'll begin by saying this, that this to us as Movement for Change is fundamentally a denial issue. We do not want to delve into history to understand where we are coming from.
Okay.
And why we continue wallowing into this poverty which does not exist. What I mean by does not exist is that how can you call poverty when you've got everything and you say we are poor? You've got everything. You are walking naked, leaving the clothes in the wardrobe. Is that normal? There should be some form of insanity.
Designer clothes for that matter.
And designer clothes for that matter. We are sitting on $1 trillion asset base in terms of minerals. Why are we even failing to make a 1 trillion budget per year? It means there's something wrong with us. And what is wrong with us, I've said it over and over and I'll keep on saying, the history where we are, the making, the existence and the making of Zambia was lest to disconnect the Zambian people from economic and abundance. That's what it is. And then it has been crafted in what you call the laws of Zambia. Laws to excommunicate us. Are those normal laws? Mwebana tamufilo okulya breakfast, tamufilo okulya lunch, okulya afye ichungulo bushiko. If yakulya fe nakolashita. Who eats that food? The people abeni abayise balisa mukulya panganda. The saying goes, where I come from, ati mwenifika mpole. We mwenifika pakuti tulie, pantuta tulia. So when the foreigners come with nothing, they come to harvest what we have, and then we get what we call jobs. Jobs which are fourth or third class jobs. And we say, these are investors, they've even brought jobs, they've created jobs. So we give them tax holidays everywhere, left or right, to give them tax holidays.
Talking about tax holidays, a week ago, or is it a fortnight ago, the government...
I wanted to crystallize this.
Please.
I wanted to crystallize this. So, what the World Bank is saying is actually observed by all these foreigners who are in this country, or who are even seeing us from outside.
Okay.
Diplomats have echoed this over and over and over, but for 60 years, we keep a blind eye and a deaf ear. We plug our ears to this, that what is it that is wrong? The wrongness in us is actually the laws of Zambia, which have made us not to be. Somebody was asking me, says, point at one law which says you shouldn't be this and that and that and that and that. The job of government is not just to put up a mass or a bunch of laws. The government must, one, create an enabling environment for its citizens to thrive. Thriving means to do what they ought to do in order to live. Whether you talk about things like human rights, shelter, education, the government must provide that. Whether you talk about business, the government must provide an enabling environment. Whether you talk about any other thing, the environment must be enabling enough, reasonably enabling, that the people can go about doing things they wish to do in their country in peace and in order and to their own benefit. If this environment does not exist, if it does exist, it's maybe 3 or 2% of what it ought to be. And that translates in economic exclusions and in unempowered citizens. That's what we are. So the people who are being empowered are foreign companies, foreign interests, and foreign capital to come and reap from what we have here, as we watch and be clapping. And our people sitting in government, people can call them names to be puppets or whatever, but those sitting in governments, you know what happened? They benefit from the rampant corruption we are seeing. They benefit. They give you $10,000, $50,000, $250,000. We hear from certain quarters where a road is being built and some person is given $250,000. It becomes a big thing. What is $250,000?
Isn't that selling the country at a song?
You can sell it at a country, but we've gone through this from independence up to today, and they're still going through the same thing.
So why are we continuing to miss that?
The issue is one word: leadership, which is mediocre. And mediocrity in leadership, or mediocre person to go in leadership, you have these kind of symptoms which we are seeing. That's what it is.
What's the solution?
Solution starts with us, the Zambians. First and foremost with the Zambians, we must rally what I would call today a compelling vision, where every Zambian must liken it the way it is was matter. A compelling vision is like this, and supported by Zambian people, should be Zambia is for Zambians. Zambia must benefit Zambians. Zambians must benefit Zambia. Donald Trump is doing what he's doing for the Americans, and he was elected on that Trump card. Now, here, I want to explain this compelling vision compelling vision is, what is it that we need to do as a Zambians or a people so that we can benefit from what we are, or we can live better? That should be a question, and we must give ourselves answers. Not waiting for somebody to be in State House or to be a minister, then we say, what is your vision? No, as Zambians, we must have a compelling vision where everybody must subscribe to. I'll give a synopsis of this. Zambia is decreed as a Christian nation. As a Christian nation, tell me if somebody came, and you've heard certain leaders come on radio and the television or in the press conferences, they've said anything, something which is reckoned to be blasphemous to Christianity. Look at the uproar throughout because it's compelling that this is a Christian country, and we believe as Christians no one should say something negative about God and our Creator God, and indeed Jesus Christ. It's just, look at that. It's that compelling. The next example I would give is that you find a young man insulting an old woman in public. Even if the old woman is wrong, it's compelling because those are our cultural values. This is what we espouse. You don't expect too much. No. Ukulatuka banama yabakalamba and those kind. You say iwe etwele tukira bakalamba banichish. That is not correct. Even if this woman is the aggressor, you try to stop that. It's compelling because our cultural values tells us there is no way a young person can be insulting an old woman. That's what it is. Now, coming to a compelling vision, we are sitting on all these things which are natural endowments and natural resources or natural wealth. What do we benefit from there? The compelling vision is that what can we do for this generation? What can we do for future generations? Using this, I'll give a very classic example. Look at Dubai. Dubai was not Dubai 50 years ago. It wasn't what it is today. But they had a compelling vision and everybody rallied into it. This calls for mindset change. This mindset change should be and I'm sure if you look at what I would call a sample platform which tried to tap in the mind of the Zambian people what a compelling vision is. Look at the successive constitutional review commissions from the Chona one in 1972 up to the last one. You come to see there is a thin thread asking about economic rights and also asking about government to be accountable and to be transparent. These are very clear in all successive. So it's speaking to something which a leadership, successful leaders have failed, lamentably failed to actually understand or to adhere to this. There is something that Zambians want. Even today, when Zambians are holding the UPND to account to say, you promised us this, we need this, we need this. What is it that they promised? They promised what they knew the people of Zambia wanted to hear. Not that they had a plan to achieve what they were talking about.
Okay.
So that's how maybe Kasonde gets infuriated when I say Chimbuno plan. If you say what you don't mean, it's Chimbuno plan. You must have a plan. There must be a blueprint. This blueprint should come from a compelling vision where all of us as Zambians subscribe.
So why the inconsistency, Mr. Simuyemba? Because the Zambian people, you can't blame them entirely. Because
no. They are not to blame. It's a leadership.
They ushered the UPND. For them to usher the UPND, it means that they had a compelling vision as Zambians too. For the UPND,
what they wanted to see,
shedding, to reduce the cost of living, to reduce the price of meal, to also give mining licenses to indigenous Zambians.
It's very clear.
And the UPND did make mention that young people will start getting into partnership with foreign nationals. I get a license, I partner with a foreign national, and the young people agreed to say this is the right kind of.
In fact, as we're going in a step further, you know, why partner with a chap who is broke just to come and make money? Why partner? So why don't we do something? So the paradigm shift in our thinking is that it's to empower a Zambian. How do you empower a Zambian? There's training. We have a lot of people who are trained. We need just to reorient the mining engineers, the economists, the doctors, the engineers, just to shift them a little bit so that they start seeing their skill sets as money spinning issues. Just that reorientation.
But Mr. Simiemba, we do have competent, well-qualified engineers, medical doctors, media practitioners in this country. But when they give advice to the current administration or to any successful government that has been there, from an expert point of view, do you, the politicians, listen?
I would say that the status quo is that there's a blind eye and a deaf ear. There's no listening. If we were listening, I think we would have done things differently. We would have done things very differently. So because now, what it is, if we are listening, how do people walk out of parliament? If we are really listening, just to be asked a question, you promised us this, where is the status quo of the cost of living or back with question, Daddy, now I'm going to school. Nishi shachikwate buku, shachikwata penso, banta mche school na raba nshkwete. Before the child could finish a sentence, you walk out of the house and you drive out. Look at how you damage this child. Just look at this. No. This is what these guys are doing. And these are not ordinary UPND members. These are leaders, not only in the UPND, but in national leaders coming from the UPND. And of course, alliance partners. Look at that. It is this that I can emphatically say that not only this, but also success of governments. If leaders listen, you don't tax. It's a tax holiday to boost production economics pa University of Zambia na Kumbikoko. Okay? Then baisa panga fiunse fili bapanga tabashitisha muno yo mwali kwa to sales tax no to shalo tu which copper is so dear. Export tax could have been removed if you compelled the people to be selling things here so that you have sales tax within the country. Number, if itafishishwa mleta kwa wanefunde ili ya kuchita compel aba panga imikuba na fionsamba minerals to sell here.
Okay.
So you export these things na kwenda mafunyako tax. So nga mafunyako tax yoku no mafunyako tax. So what are you taxing? Pay as you earn ababomfi. Abe na ababomfi aba. And then most of those employees who are earning huge amounts of money, they are not even paid here. Shashi nendara mwate exporti, kuria eko bafuma eko bagapu gelaba salaries, kuruba puka allowances. So what are you taxing? You are taxing an already overtaxed Zambian person who is a minor and getting crumbs of money. Mwamunde konaka 15%, telo mwata tax na kamiti. This is what is happening. So ayama economics yaba musoko tuane. They are very failed economics. Extremely failed. If is one failed minister, is that particular man is a very failed minister.
The Minister of Finance?
One of the 30 plus promises to Zambian people was to appoint a competent Minister of Finance, competent Bank of Zambia governor. It's there in black and white. If these two are competent in the eyes of Zambians, I leave it to the Zambians to say so. But in the M4CE, the way we analyze monetary and fiscal policies of this government and economic theory, we find these two are failed individuals in their right. Failed.
And it ends there.
It ends there. That's why we end up now, the net effect of this is what we are being ranked to be the 60th poorest country in the midst of abundance, trillions of dollars sitting on our land mass called Zambia. But you are poor because of incompetence in government, which we call mediocrity in leadership.
Okay.
Simple and straightforward.
Okay.
No rocket science.
Okay.
There are economists like Abazoka. He's been talking and talking and talking. Dr. Abazoka has been talking and talking and talking. Who listens to him? It's just another piece of noise. So to us, when we look into history and we look where we are, we just understand one thing, that actually we are a small piece of T-bone being eaten on the table. Hello, kutoka president na wasi tuipe somebody at table hapa. Tulepokela makrams. Bale ya pamulu hapa.
Scramble for Zambia.
The crumbs are falling. Tuikele mwisamba mune mwitebo tulepokela turedia. Bale ya matiboni pamulu hapa. Na matiboni alikuisa eyo bashikulu nefishikulu n'abafya shibesu efe bali dile echo le satu pele. Bale ya bambi. Ifota tuwakaidi ya China, tuwakaidi ya kwa America, tuwakaidi ya kwa England. We'll never go there to eat. If we go there, we are being put on the next plane. Donald Trump is saying, go and hold your leaders accountable. Don't cry about being in America here. Go back. Mm-hmm. And as we were saying, Donald Trump mukari. Everybody jamatiboni pari. If you get me some bomb. Just imagine for a second. Just imagine smart. And Zambians should start thinking like this. Mm-hmm. Suppose we stopped producing copper. Are we going to die?
Not at all.
Are we going to die? Are we going to die?
Not at all.
We had a situation where the mines were closed on the copper belt before these other new mines popped up. Did we die? We didn't die. And the other thing we must think about is that this copper and the mineral wealth which is being extracted at no value and benefit to Zambians, I can tell you that it is being wasted. No more minerals will be regenerated in the soil. Therefore, the future generations are actually deprived of what is endowed and was endowed for their own existential. What do I mean by that? Mm-hmm. It means if we are extracting from the soil, we must reinvest in other sectors that will continue regenerating wealth for the economy and for future generations to benefit.
But we're not seeing that, Mr. Simba.
We are not seeing that because I've told you mediocre leadership. Now, this is a blame to the Zambian people. When I say a compelling vision, it's now a blame to the Zambian people. I've been on this platform, Smarter, that we in the opposition political parties forget about UPND and the political parties that have passed the train of leadership. Us who are talking the way I'm talking should now be examined, interrogated to see whether what we are talking about is real or not by the Zambian people. Because the buck starts and stops. Our sala tema foreigners ni fuego tu sala. Our sala akainde ni fuego. Our sala UPND ni fuego. Fuego na Zambia. Tema foreigners, tema Congoli, tema nani. Ni fuego tu asadile. Tema Donald Trump, ni fuego tu asadile. So that we chose, if we are not happy, we can put them aside. When we put them aside, let's not go into another mistake of choosing another set of wrong people into government. We must really start examining the opposition. Whilst it's in the opposition, not when they're in government.
But all opposition political parties, since we're a Christian nation, we can quote from the Bible. All opposition parties come as sheep. Wolves come as sheep in sheep's clothing. Let me put it that way. Wolves come in sheep's clothing. There's a passage in the Holy Book that talks about that. All all of you opposition political parties, when you come up with ideas and when you form government, you begin inconsistencies. Hence, the majority citizens are saying, why is Zambia being subjected to rhetoric and mediocrity? Each time they change government, mediocrity takes root. Why is it like that?
Okay, fine. I'll go back to what I said earlier. Maybe put it differently. Are Zambians on the extreme end 20 million without the mediocrity we are saying?
They are there.
If they are there, what now comes to the other end? Why is it that Zambians are failing to identify those people? Why is it that Zambians are failing to, or they negate on their responsibility to identify such people? I've put a very simple formula here to say, Zambians, start interrogating the opposition. You would see, you will not fail to see who is a sheep and who is a wolf. You will see. And we're a Christian country. Why don't we pray for a correct leadership to emerge and be identified to say, yes, that is the leader God is raising. But if we choose to go by any other sound, any other vision, my God, we're in trouble. So the issue is what you are asking. Zambians have got the responsibility to choose a leadership. No one else. And no one will choose a leader for us. If we continue choosing people who are dishonest, and I can tell you the colors of these dishonest people. The first color is money.
Okay.
The first color is money. Zambians, if you see a leader bringing money to your table, because you've got challenges, just know that you are in trouble.
But politics has been commercialized, Mr. Simon.
It can be commercialized. It can be commercialized. I'm saying what I'm saying. Please, let me be held accountable.
Okay.
If you see a leader, instead of espousing what they'll do, and by measure of deeds, because, you know, to choose a leader is very easy. Just look at the history of a person. Just the history of a person. Ekwa fiarilwe, ekwa kulile, nepwa fikile, nefia chita, nefia sunga bakashwako, munganda nabana bako. Simple. You know that this is a leader, it's not a leader. You can't live for, let's say, 40, 50 years and you've been pretending all this. You can't pretend all that long. You can't. So if people just delve into history, they'll be able to know that this is a leader. Why is it that the Americans, they said yes, they are, look, I will give this because it was in public domain.
Please.
Look at Donald Trump and look at Kamala Harris, who was the fine speaker. Between the two, it was Kamala Harris. But Americans said, not these sweet things we are hearing. Idiashinidi, uyuini oyu, natubuwesho mdalo. Esa bombe inchi turelila. But we wait to see whether what Donald Trump is doing, the American people will benefit or not.
Okay.
But from the few pronouncements, less than 100 days, from few pronouncements is made, I think is speaking to a lot of common sense, not even anything complicated, just common sense.
Why is Africa as a continent lacking such radical leaders? Of course,
I'll give you what it is. I'll give you, and when I say this, but smata, when I say this, I keep on going into history. There's something that people who colonized us, we are not crying about it, but we have to remind each other of this. And when we lose sight of this, we always end up where we have ended up and end up in these vicious circles. Zambia is not an island or an isolate.
Okay.
Zambia is a member of Southern Africa, Africa, and the globe. It's a member of the earth. It's a country in this planet. It's a country in Africa. It's a country in Southern Africa.
The sixth poorest country.
And the sixth poorest country in the world. Whatever that means, as we call it, artificial poverty, artificial lack. For us to be poor,
So it's
artificial.
self-induced.
Very self-induced. But there is also a hand beyond that. This is the point that I would like to introduce to this narrative that I've been, is what you guys are calling geopolitics.
Okay.
The global politics. The geopolitics phenomenon right now is about survival. This survival, I will liken to a bus station like Ulima Tower. You know, people fight, to be the station boss and all that kind of thing. These people have been fighting, especially when the Kadarism was at its peak. People fight. Then you become the boss, you start controlling. It speaks to money. Then people are paying whatever, homemade, illegal taxation, and people get the geopolitics are not different. That fighting that you see in intercity is about survival of the strongest, or the fittest. Now, what it is now is that America is trying to survive, Russia is trying to survive, China is trying to survive, and any other economy like Zambia, we are trying to survive. Roughly close to about 1 billion, isn't it?
Okay.
Now, that population, you've heard that Africa is overpopulated. No one is talking about China being overpopulated. Just one country. Just one country. No one is talking about it. Why are they talking about Africa being populated? We need to control population. Because I'll also take you just down there. In South Africa, the apartheid constitution was that tailored to actually systematically exterminate the black race so that you give space for the Muzungus to live there. These are salient issues we must be alive to. The Red Indians in America, they are not existent. There was Christopher Columbus and a few characters who shipped into America. A few years later, 400-500 years later, there's no Red Indian there. They've been exterminated. The Aborigines in New Zealand and everywhere, they've been... What do you think these people who did it in New Zealand and Australia, the people who did it in North America and Canada, the people who started a program in South Africa cannot do the same for Zambia? Why do you think that Zambia should be excluded from that kind of formula? So the issue is about existentialism and survival. Fear to survive properly. Why? As the population is rising, definitely, the resource base is still the same world over. So, competition to that resource base, to support livelihoods, jobs and everything, industries and everywhere, wherever they are, becomes the issue into contention. You are talking about electric cars. Where do you produce copper? Zambia. Who is producing copper? Them. Where are they going to process these copper lines and copper wires? There. Where are the jobs created? There. Who is going to benefit from these electric cars? There. Second-hand cars, once they have lived maybe 70% of their lives, now they'll be sent here second-hand cars.
2006.
So, absolute technologies is being sent to Africa, but wealth as virgin as it is being extracted for their industries. This existential is a fear thing. For them to survive, they've got to either exterminate or suppress and or keep us where they think they should keep us. However, our survival in this calls for transformational leadership. Leadership which will look at things in the global perspective, and leadership that will forge partnerships that are not only linear partnerships like we saw some just recently. You have partnerships, there's change of government, you have problems. We don't want that kind of partnership. We want partnerships that are symbiotic and beneficial. If they're taking our copper, we also benefit from the technologies and for this and that. Okay. So these partnerships are very key. And that's what brings us to the mostly rhetorically used word, economic diplomacy. This economic diplomacy must be symbiotic. It shouldn't be one-way traffic.
Okay. So as we wind up, we are going into our news, what the newspapers are saying. But Mr. Simukonda, just a gentle reminder to you and the party that is in power that you've been telling the Zambian people that they don't have the capacity to run their own mines.
That's a lie.
Number two, over the weekend, obviously, that came from Friday's session in Parliament. The Vice President is on record to have said, Imita Ufole, get pregnant, get paid. It's there, it has gone viral. Let's go to our newspaper people.
That's when, you see, when we're talking about mediocrity and limitedness in leadership, this is what, these are clear exhibitions.
And if it's getting paid, how much are we talking about?
Yeah, the same social cash transfers. And
800,
this, to us, we think, even below the poverty dentam line, but we think that's a big issue. When I was here, I said, what this government is doing is too little for a bigger expectation. And we think we're doing a lot. But that give them that what they think they're doing a lot, that will be measured against them in an election. If the Zambians are very happy with what the UPND is doing in the government, let them give them another mandate. Because Zambians are happy. That's democracy. But if they are not happy, boot them out. Simple and straightforward.
Okay.
Simple.
The Zambians are watching and listening. Let's go to our newspapers and see what the newspapers are saying this morning. We are starting with the broadsheet. The Zambia Daily Mail state-owned newspaper. It reads with a headline, Mineral Royalty Tax Remains. Msogotwane clears air on precious minerals export levy. Mr. Sumiyamba, that particular headline, does that see... Let me just put it out. Does it make sense?
Answer is no.
Let's go to another daily tabloid.
We explain in our mining sector policy position. We explain what we think can be done. If also what we say will not make sense, some will judge us to say, maybe simple.
And maybe to urge the Zambians, you go to the Ministry of Finance Facebook page or website, read these documents. Bank of Zambia as well, go to their Facebook page, go to their website, read these public documents. They are there for you to read. So that as we draw near to the elections, when a politician comes to kneel before you to ask for votes, you will know what they are talking about. Let's go to another daily tabloid. Okay, we go straight into the Diggers, indigenous Zambian owned newspaper. I have no plan to harm HH. I handed over power to him peacefully, willingly, Lungu. Okay. Your quick reaction. We are winding up, Mr. Simkonda. Oh, Mr. Simuyamba, sorry. This is Namwanga name. Okay, Mr. Simuyamba.
Yes. Lungu says he's got no harm. He's got no intention.
He handed over peacefully.
And I don't think he's got the capacity to harm the president. No, the president is highly protected. And you see, if Lungu had those intentions, I think by now he could have been whisked away and put before the courts of law. I don't think even the government think it's just political rhetoric. Come back. When you come back, it's a democratic right. You remember the president says it's his own right, but we're going to follow the law. He's not going to enjoy the benefits in retirement. So, I think even the president knows that Lungu doesn't have any
ill intentions.
Ill intentions to harm him. Maybe the only ill intentions he has is to keep on insisting on plan B. That is the ill intention.
Okay, let's go to another daily tabloid. As we wind up in a few minutes, HH very selfish. He wants to stop others while sparing Koswe watchdog Membe. Now, Comrade Fred Membe comes out, and that's a headline on the mast. I think he is referring to social media. The president has been inconsistent when it comes to social media. At first, he said, now that I'm in government, youth should be able to engage with me through social media. At one of his visits to his party secretariat, the newly opened party secretariat in Rhodes Park, he said youths are so much on TikTok. The videos are there. TikTok. Okay, so you should stop TikTok. Stay away from TikTok. He advised the youths to do that. Fast forward, a fortnight ago, he's there saying youth should continue, should engage with him, citizens should engage with him on Facebook, YouTube, whatever, these social media platforms. A few days ago, he says Facebook, internet is becoming a menace. It will be dealt with. So I think that's where President Comrade Fred Membe is.
The opinion of Comrade Membe is well received, and the other comments from the president HH are also well received.
It's public record.
He should engage with the youths using social media, even when they are criticizing him. One of the tenements of democracy is critique. For you to live in a democratic dispensation, criticism should be the bedrock, not only TikTok, not only whatever, not only radio, even in public demonstrations, sage and underscore the issue of critique. In fact, at the highest level of education, for you to get a PhD, the common thing are critiques.
Exactly.
You criticize the work of others, and people say this is a lot of sense, and they confire you. So to me, when a government starts shying away from criticism and critiques, it means that they've developed a cocoon around them, or they are shying away that this will be exposed, or they know that they are limited and they are living in denial that kaitwalilandile fionsefi nomba fionsefi tuwalandina atufilwa, now we are exposed, kanshapa, we just have to clamp down. My advice to both the president and the New Dawn government is that critiques and criticism is a very healthy situation. Even if people are insulting, I was the most happiest person when President Akainde removed the law of defamation of a president, so that he can allow, and you see we talked, he asked me in a tent at State House, how is this law? I said, Mr. President, what you've done is the good thing, because now our democracy is just what? It's going to grow. Now, here is the situation today. You say this, and you want to do the other thing. You do this, and you want... These are not politics.
You the politician.
It speaks to something to... Flopping. Maybe say chameleon type of behavior.
Changing colors.
Yes, chameleons. They can even be called witchcraft. Chameleons. So, but the issue which is here...
We need to go, Mr. Simemba. Kindly conclude. We need to go.
A quick conclusion. There was even another headline talking about Chawing and Lovosha. Here.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, blasted by some band, whatever. You know what? I would urge the PF and parties like NDC, parties like MMD, is to allow for criticism, and that criticism processed into positive energy. Otherwise, these kind of things will never end in political parties.
That's why the Zambian people are saying they are fatigued with you, the politicians, because when you look at some opposition political parties, they are in disarray. How can one political party have 3 presidents?
Yes, they are in disarray
and
because...
how can one political party have 2 presidents? Faction leader this side in an alliance with UPND.
The other one
leader this side is an alliance with UKA. The opposition is not organized. They
don't have to be organized as the opposition. There is no law which says the opposition must be organized. What must be organized, and this, there is evidence to this.
Okay.
What must be organized is a political party, which is a government in waiting.
Exactly. And
now, this political party, if it's organized, sometimes we'll be able to see, yes, those guys are organized. They'll give them the mandate. I'll give you the classic.
As we go.
PF, as we conclude, PF under SATA was so organized that it had to overtake a party which had more resources, more educated people in the name of UPND. Within 10 years, they formed the government. So it was organized. It didn't need the alliances. It went and formed government. So,
but we don't see that nowadays. Maybe it's only
maybe
you
the time
and the 3 others. Maybe you, since you are here, I'll refer to you. I won't talk about the rest. But maybe it's only you and a few other political parties that seem organized. The rest have got 3, 4 presidents.
I also just want to take quickly comment on that one. It is that which the Zambian people must go to see. What kind of people are these that they are not fighting when others are fighting? And why are these people fighting when these are not fighting? So it's this, that's why I said Zambia should take keen interest in finding out what exactly is causing problems here and why is there peace there and there. That kind of thing is very, very important. Because it's this, if you choose a already fighting arrangement to go in government, be assured that there will be fights in government. We've seen it in neighboring countries where a president and a vice president running mate, they were almost at loggerheads.
Exactly.
But here, look at it. You can give kudos to HH and Narumango. We haven't seen them fighting. So they are running government the way they think. That's why Narumango is able to issue such statement in parliament. But they are not fighting, at least within UPND. They are not fighting.
Wow.
It's a good thing.
Okay,
but to just close remarks as you've asked, I would like to say this for the Zambian people.
Okay.
Zambian people start looking at what is a compelling vision. When we say vision, we're not talking rhetoric. What is it that actually affects us most that we must do collectively? Such a thing should not be an issue of a political party. It shouldn't even be the vision of a political party. It shouldn't even be the blueprint of a political party. It should be, this is what we want as Zambians. If you don't do this, don't come to us. Don't even ask for our vote. That must come out very, very clearly from the Zambian people. Even those who do rhetorics, they will be asked, if you are to fit into this kind of thinking, what is it that you are showing us that we should trust you, that when you go there, and then this debate should continue. And this is where 2 important estates come into play. The church of faith-based organizations and the 4th estate, which is the media. They come into play very, very importantly. Plus, let me put civil society, the NGOs. These 3 should come into effect now. Of course, I'm talking of genuine NGOs, not those who are sponsored by foreign interest and foreign capital.
And please include independent media houses such as Camnet TV.
Of course. Please. That's why we're enjoying the space here.
Tell
me if I went to ZNBC, all those guys will be fired in one day. They will end up being fired. Thank you so much. Zambians, it's a blessed day, and we hope you can continue praying. Pray for your leadership. Pray for God's revelation so that you choose who is the correct leader to lead this great, great, great country. Zambia is not poor. Fiance Fiaba World Bank, if you poorest Fiabu fee. We're a very rich country, we are just disorganized. So let's get organized, let's look for proper leadership, that will be servant leadership, that will go and answer to your cause and your vision as Zambia. May God bless Zambia once more. God loves you guys.
Okay, amen. President Simiamba, it's always a pleasure hosting you. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation to come through. At least you did not run away from the interview.
Running away from the interview is like those guys who ran out from Parliament. You know, when you start running away, please call us. I hope even other guys, radio stations can call us. We go and talk.
Fantastic.
And they share our views and whatever.
Okay,
Yes.
fantastic. That was President Simiamba for you. Thank you so much, dear viewers, for having chosen us. Amongst many on a Monday morning like this one, remember, this is your digital TV. As we transition, please come through, embark with us on this particular journey as we bring to you soon our app that you'll be able to download on App Store and Google Play Store, so that you can have Camnet TV programming at your fingertips. Thank you so much to my director for the